Hey friends, welcome to Bokeh, a podcast exploring the ever-blurring lines between the personal and business lives of professional photographers. This is your host, Nathan Holritz, and I'm bringing you a special episode of the Bokeh podcast today called Workflow Wednesday. During these special edition episodes, myself and my co-hosts will focus on helping you develop more efficient daily and weekly workflows around post-production, communication, task and project management, time management, file and image management, and yes, the list does go on. We're going to save you an incredible amount of time in your work week, and we promise not to be too nerdy. This podcast is brought to you by Photographers Edit, custom image editing for the wedding and portrait photographer. Visit photographersedit.com. We are officially going live on Facebook here, so everybody get ready. It's working. We're crossing our fingers.
We're live. I'm watching it now.
And we're good. Oh, we're actually live. Perfect. All right. So we are officially live. Welcome everybody to Workflow Wednesday. And Rich is already laughing. Apparently we are that hilarious. But welcome everybody to Workflow Wednesday. We are here as a production of Photographers Edit and the Bokeh podcast. And very obviously by the title, we're focusing on workflow. We're discussing how to create efficient workflows in our daily lives as photography business owners. And we're going to do so today, actually, with the help of a new friend. Well, actually, not a new friend of ours, but a new guest of ours, Heather Keys. Hey, Heather, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing good. And of course, Rich and Heather are regular co-hosts. Hey, guys.
Hello,
guys. Good to see you.
Cool. And then Haley, who most of you probably know at this point, heads up our digital marketing, but then also is helping produce the podcast. So, and I'm getting a note here from, there we go. Thanks, Heather.
Wow.
Heather is actually helping us produce the show. We were just talking about the fact before we got started that we're using new software here, and I've got 50 different buttons to manage while simultaneously trying to talk and make sense. So you guys bear with me. We are using new software. It looks like we're pushed out to Facebook and we're officially recording. So we started okay. We'll try to make this thing happen. But just getting back to what I was saying, most of you probably already know already, but this goes out to both the Bokeh podcast, which we'll publish actually later today by 5 or 6 Eastern. And then we do a Facebook Live series going to the Photographers Edit Facebook page. So if you're watching live right now, hello. And Haley will be checking in on those comments and pushing those questions and comments to us here in the live chat. And we're going to be talking today about pushing our images online. Most of you, I would hope at this point, are actually publishing your images, the images that you're shooting for your wedding or portrait session or other type of event. You're pushing those online to an online gallery. And I wanted to host Heather today and more specifically highlight Pass as a potential solution for you, the photographer, for publishing your images online. And we're going to explain a little bit more about why that even matters to me here in just a second, and I think why it should matter to you. We'll get there. But I wanted to start, we were actually having some fun small talk. Heather and Rich were pointing out the fact that Heather actually has some light where she's at. We are in Chattanooga right now where it's dark and rainy and kind of nasty outside. Heather, where are you actually based?
I am actually in Temecula, California, so Southern California area. I'm in between LA and San Diego.
Whoa, nice.
Okay, awesome. So I was actually just in that area a few days ago on a motorcycle, and you were talking before we got started about the fact that the wind is blowing so hard. I just have to say that when you're riding a motorcycle and you've got gusts of probably 30 to 40 mile an hour winds that are hitting you on the highway, and you've got cars going past you and trucks and so forth, it gets a little bit chaotic.
It's a little hairy.
It's so relaxing. It's so relaxing. You're like, this is a life.
But I will say, outside of that, it was wonderful to get away, to be able to ride motorcycle, both in Arizona and in California. My girlfriend was with me. We were spending time with her friends, Chad de Blasio and his wife, Melissa, and got a chance to connect with some photographers out that way. And of course, also go to the United Conference. We had a lot of fun. Haley was also there at the United Conference with me. It was her second conference with Photographers Edit. Rich and Heather, what have you guys been up to?
Surviving cold and flu season with 2 kids.
Is it. Our kids have like back to back. Oh, we did go to Rosemary Beach, Florida, which is absolutely insanely beautiful.
Yep, we did.
So And so,
And
California.
you got away it was like a quick vacation, right?
It was like a 4-day,
was.
keep your sanity.
It's been absolutely insane for us for September and October. So we're like, you know what? Let's just let's go get our sanity back. I didn't even pick up my computer the entire time. I had a lot to catch up on when I got back, but while I was down there, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
You've got to do that sometimes. I remember this was maybe 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, but it was the middle of winter, I think maybe February. And I was just burnt out, and it was cold here. And I was like, I need some sun. I need a break, and I need some sun. I just need to turn off. So I booked a last minute trip to the Bahamas for like 3 days and just went and laid around on the beach. And it was kind of like, I need to repeat, that every single year in the middle of our kind of nasty Tennessee winter. It's not extremely cold here, but it can get nasty like it is right now. And so it's nice to take a break from that and just to get away. So kudos to you guys for making that a priority. And I think we can all kind of learn from that example. But Heather, what have you been up to other than, and very briefly, if you will, share what your position, your role is at Pass, and then tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, so I am the marketing coordinator at Pass. And many know that we actually have multiple brands. So we have Pass, which is your galleries, your online galleries. We also have Agree, which is online contracts and payments. And we've got a few other things like the Shoot and Share community. So I help run the Shoot and Share community, as well as 2 new products that are coming, which is Vivi, which are slideshows. So photo slideshows that are paired with music. They're absolutely amazing. So I love them because they're super, like, you literally upload 40 photos and it plays it with music and it's done in literally seconds. So they're really geared to, like, marketing videos for photographers, but they could also certainly use them as products to sell to their clients too. We have a new product that we're rolling out that will give you the ability to send videos to your clients. So it's a little bit more on the hush hush, but we'll be talking about it soon.
Nice. So
we won't tell anybody.
Right. I'm gonna get all the deal. But I just actually got back from Wedding MBA, so I was there. I think during the United was at the exact same time, if I'm not mistaken. So Wedding MBA, just got to hang out with a lot of different people in the industry and different types of vendors and stuff. And so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always nice to be. I mean, I love community. It's part of the reason why I love United so much. It's so unique in that you go there and people actually seem like they're behaving as though they actually want to connect and have a conversation versus this kind of like surface level stuff that you see at a lot of conferences. Mm-hmm. And so it's really enjoyable for that reason, but then also just to gain perspective, to know where the industry is at. And especially when we're working for or with a company within the photo industry, to maintain that perspective is important. It doesn't feel like extremely long ago that I was photographing weddings, but I love having conversation actively with photographers who are shooting right now to lend perspective to what's going on right this second.
Into that, like, shot 3 weddings when I got back. So I'm also
it's very real for you.
Yeah, I'm also still doing wedding photography. I haven't given that up yet. I'm still grouping it. I'm like, not yet. I don't want to give it away yet. So yeah, I'm definitely still very active part in the industry and the community. And like going to things like Wedding MBA and just being able to talk to other vendors that are in the industry, from coordinators to florists and bakers and venue owners. It's great to see their perspective on our industry too. I mean, they have a lot of opinions about our industry too. So as photographers, so it's good to kind of get their feedback as well. We're actually starting to work with more venues here at Pass just to help them get galleries of their images and stuff. So that's kind of a next approach that we're working on.
Nice. So
a lot going on. There's a lot
so
going on.
How long have you been a photographer, and how did you get involved with Pass?
So I've been a photographer for over 10 years. I think I'm getting like to 13 years. So I think should be almost saying like 15 at this point, but I think I'm still hanging on to the 10. I don't know why. I started shooting weddings when I was 17. And got started with Pass really in the photo contest. So we Shoot and Share hosts a yearly photo contest, which is coming right up around the corner again. And I was volunteering and just helping with that, just helping with some of the marketing efforts too. And then last year I came on board with a bit moonlighting because I was a marketing coordinator for another company and was helping them just on the side doing it because I loved the contest and wanted to be a part of it. And after WPPI last year, I was like, all right, let's go full time. Let's do this. What are we doing?
No, what are we doing?
Yes, exactly.
It's literally how it happened.
I saw that you actually have a child. You're married and have a child. So I mean, like you need to write a book about how you can do all this stuff.
I'm actually a single mom, so I'm not married.
Okay. Sorry with that. Sorry.
Yeah, so I work full time. I own my own wedding photography business, and I'm a single mom. And
what? I have no idea how you do everything. That's amazing.
A lot of people say I'm busy, and I try not to say that word anymore because I think that being busy is kind of what you make of it. My busy is certainly 100%. Somebody else's insanity, and someone else's somebody else is busy, I think is crazy. So
yeah, good point. It's all relative. Yeah,
it's all relative.
Well, it's certainly relative, but I think at the end of the day, like we all make time for what we want to.
Absolutely.
Anytime I hear we're busy from friends, family, acquaintances.
Yeah, what are you busy doing?
At the end of the day, we make time for what we want to. And I think that speaks very loudly for itself. But I have to chime in really quickly here, though, because we have some comments from those listening in, watching in, Amanda and Rhonda and Autumn and Chris. All saying hello. And by the way, Chris was actually saying, I love my Pass Plus. And we're going to talk about Pass Plus here in just a second. Rhonda is giving Heather major props by saying that she's amazing. So thanks for the kind words there for Heather, Rhonda.
By the way, all the compliments that come in for Heather Keys today, I'm going to take those as well because I'm Heather. So if you intended for her, I'm going to take it as if it's for myself as well.
There's enough to share. There's enough to share. Yeah. You're amazing too, sweetheart.
Heather in general.
Heathers are just awesome. I mean, like, have you ever met a non-cool Heather? I haven't. I mean, like, they're all cool. They're all cool.
Well played, Rich. Well played.
It's all the name.
I do want to encourage those that are watching live currently to chime in, ask questions as we get into more details about Pass and the significance of Pass, what it stands for, how it works. Don't hesitate to chime in. Tell us about your experience. Ask questions about how it works. And then for those of you that are listening on the Bokeh podcast, that of course is going out later on, the audio version of this broadcast, don't hesitate to jump back to Photographers Edit or to our Facebook page at Photographers Edit. It's facebook.com/PhotogsedIt, PhotogsedIt. And you can watch this broadcast live because Heather is going to be doing a demo here for us, a couple of different demos, I think, actually for us here shortly. So you're going to want to see how the interface actually works. And actually, you know what? We should just jump into that because we've got about 45 minutes, Heather. I know Rich has a shoot that he has to get to, so you got to leave. And exactly.
Why are we all so busy? Just kidding.
Yeah, we do have a lot going on.
I'm not busy at all. I'm not busy. I'm very relaxed.
So actually, what I'd love to do, Heather, just to give context to everybody listening in, because of course the reality is that Pass is not the only online gallery out there. I want to highlight what sets Pass apart from the other galleries. So let's start first with something actually that we talk a lot about on the Bokeh podcast, which is the idea of a brand position. And in this case, maybe we could call it a mission. But what is the mission of Pass? What sets it apart from the rest of the galleries?
We really want to make the future of photo galleries and even our business more personal. And that's really where we're going with Pass and even some of the other products that we're going to be introducing, in the next couple of months and next year. And is to really be able to give not only the photographer, but their end user, their client, that personal experience.
So how do you make, when you talk about a personal experience, I'm thinking about, and I'll just play a little bit of devil's advocate here, but I'm thinking about a digital product with which I'm engaging using my laptop or maybe my phone. Naturally, that's not as personal as me having a conversation, right? And I realize those are two extreme opposites, but when you talk about the idea of personalizing this experience with Pass, what does that actually look like tangibly?
Yeah.
So there's two levels here. So for the photographer, it's really being able to go in and actually customize this product. There are other products, like you said, that are out there on the market that don't allow that don't allow them to upload, things like their logos and templates, so emails and things of that nature. We actually give them the ability to make lots of changes on the back end, so they can upload their, basically brand it. So you're able to actually physically brand your gallery, so that when your clients see it, they open up your gallery and bam, it says who you are right there in the front. Down to little tiny things to make it a more personalized experience is in our collections, we actually now have the ability to write text above that collection. So let's say you had maybe maybe during a wedding, if you're a wedding photographer, you had a special quote that was said during the wedding, or maybe a Bible verse that you want to add in there. For me, and take it on a step back for being a photographer, I will jot down notes or have my second photographer actually jot down notes from that wedding. And then I'll go back into the collection when I'm uploading all the galleries, and I'll actually put like some little fun side notes there so that they can see it. So when they open it up, and I'll show you what that looks like when we dive in, and even fun quotes, like I'm the quote person. I love putting out some fun quotes. I'm also like the romantic quote person. So everyone's wedding gallery will have like some romantic quote somewhere on it. But just being able to get those kind of personal touches in there builds that connection. And like you said, when you're on a mobile device, you're on your computer, you sometimes will lose that connection a little bit. And that's just a way to actually be able to like circle back with your client and say, hey, I remember this happened. Or maybe you're a family photographer and something really cute and funny happened during the session. You can even, hey, check out this photo. I remember, whatever you put, whatever you want in there.
That totally makes sense. Okay, so we're talking about personalizing the experience for each individual client, not only to reflect your brand more effectively, but then also to, I guess, reflect the client's actual, in this case, a wedding day, for example, that we're talking about, or maybe the portrait session, whatever is actually being photographed, to be a more accurate reflection of that day or that session, that event that was being photographed. Is that right?
Absolutely. And for those that are maybe product photographers, if you want to go in there and actually put the company that you're working with, maybe their mission statement or something can go up at the top. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can kind of like figure, okay, how can I actually drill this in for my client? How can they feel like they're having a personal experience with it? We are also now mobile experience. So we want to give everybody the mobile freedom to not only just get stuff behind our computers, because as you guys all know, as entrepreneurs, we kind of get locked away in our offices and our rooms and wherever we're working. And so being able to give photographers and the clients the ability to log in to an actual real mobile app, being able to download their images straight to their phone. And we're talking high-res images too. We're not just talking little screen grab thumbnails. We're talking a high-res image right to their phone. And again, this goes for both photographer and the client. So both of them are able to log right in. On the photographer side, they're actually able to schedule social media posts, download images. Everything is literally right from your phone. So for me, someone who doesn't have time, someone who has a lot going on, it's great because I literally will just download a gallery. I forget about it after I've sent it to my client. I'm done, right? Well, then I need to go schedule my social media posts. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm standing in line at Starbucks this morning. I literally shot a post off this morning straight from the gallery from the mobile app.
That's really cool. So it's literally posting then it's grabbing that image, instead of having to download it into your gallery, then pull that, put it in the Instagram, it's actually pulling directly from the app to post to Instagram or to Facebook?
So wherever. And if you use a program, a third-party program like Planoly, Hootsuite, whatever you're using, later.com, you can actually use those programs and still continue to schedule your posts. And a lot of people are scheduling posts and things of that nature. So you can pull up that gallery, whatever gallery you have, pull them all up, and then just start scheduling your posts off one at a time.
That's really, really cool. I mean, I know that the mobile experience has existed for a long time on a browser level. But the fact that you not only have an app, but then have this kind of functionality built into it is really, really great.
Literally, hands down, it is a game changer. Like, and as a photographer speaking, it's a complete game changer in it, hands down. And it's a real mobile app. So you get other things like when a sale comes in, you're going to get a notification that a sale has come in. When a client has selected their favorites, we've got a favorites tab. You can go in and look at all your favorites. I mean, that's something that I teach for the photographer's online sales system, is utilizing the tools and the features that we have in Pass, either on your computer or on your mobile device, actually being able to utilize those tools and create a complete sales system through it. Like using your favorites at your client's a favorite, why not share those on social media? That's a win-win, right? Your client loves it. You're tagging them. They're sharing it because it was already their favorite. And then they feel like a rock star superstar because you've posted it on social media.
And Alyssa, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Alyssa commented, she said that feature is such a lifesaver, so convenient to have all those photos right at hand. And yeah, truly, I mean, having access to all of those images to easily push them out after the fact is extremely convenient. But speaking of convenience, I want to maybe take a step back here and talk a little bit about what it's like to even get started with Pass, because this is the thing that's most impacted me as far as the experience with Pass. Now, I've known the Pass brand and ultimately David J for years and years. In fact, I remember DJ was actually visiting Chattanooga, and this was years and years ago, when he was working on a version of Pass, and he did a quick demo as to how easy it was to actually use the interface. And at the time, I was blown away, and this was years ago. I recently had the opportunity to photograph a wedding myself, and I went to upload, first of all, create an account and then upload an event to Pass. And I was able to do so within literally just a few minutes. It was absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I'm a huge minimalist and ultimately a fan of simple user experiences, because at this point in time, with the technology that we have, the awareness about about human behavior and ultimately our client behavior, there's really little reason, little excuse for us not to be creating the simplest, easiest user experience possible. I know that you guys have done that at Agree. You've certainly done that at Pass, but I was blown away at how easy it was to get set up. And so I'd love to highlight that feature here. You mentioned that the sales system, we're going to get to that here in just a second, but I'd love to highlight how easy it is to get started with Pass. And maybe you can just demo how easy it is to set up an account and get to the point of even uploading an event, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do a bit of a share screen. Pick the right screen, because if you guys are like me, you have like 5 screens open at a time. I'm that girl. I'm like trying to shut everything really quick. So I'm literally just on our website, so passgallery.com. You're going to click Get Started, which is right here in the right-hand side, and that's where it's going to bring you here. I'm going to make sure I didn't already create an account with this email. So I apologize, you guys, if I need to do that. So
you know what, even with this interface right here, I have to give major props to the designers, because now I'm seeing the similarities in design between the Agree user experience and how that's translating over to Pass. But just the simplicity of, hey, you know what? Put your email address in, click a button, submit it. And this may seem irrelevant to you, the photographer, but when you're considering how to design your website for the best user experience possible, as few clicks as possible to get to whatever needs to be gotten to, whether it's to send communication or to learn information about your service, pricing, or otherwise, make it as easy as possible to get started with that process. And you guys are doing this. I didn't mean to interrupt your flow there, but I'm just a huge fan of the design experience, or the design that's been implemented here.
And I agree too. It's another thing that I talk about in POSS is being able just to make it really easy for your clients to close that sale. Closing that sale means like getting them into your website, getting one place for them to go to, fill out that form, and be done, right? Yeah. You don't have to have them searching through page. The more clicks you go, the farther away from a sale you're actually going to have.
It's so true.
That's something to keep in mind, like when you're building a website. So here, let me go back to sharing. So this is the email that you'll get from us. Can you guys all see that? I hope you can. And then we're just going to let's get started. If I typed my name right, it would probably be more helpful.
We're not judging.
Right. You know, doing stuff like this online is always so much fun.
I love that she uses one password, though. This is also, I love that password.
Absolutely amazing. We have so many people that we are sharing things with. So it's great.
And for those of you that didn't hear what Rich said, 1Password is a software management, a password management software that is incredible. I've used it probably at this point for 8 years, 10 years, something like that. It's
forever, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
I was super excited when I found out they were using it. Like,
nice.
Yes, this is going to make my life easier. Okay, so that's it. So we're in. I'm already set up. So I literally put my first and last name in there, my email address, what country I was in, and there we go. So this is going to be a free account. We do give everybody a free account. We actually have the largest free account, which you get 20 gigs with it. So
which is extremely generous, I have to say. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I kind of sometimes I'm like, really? That's just the marketer in me. But I love it because, I mean, I don't know about you, but when it comes to weddings, even if you're uploading, I typically upload about 700 images for a wedding.
Yes.
Multiple weddings can go on here. So if you're a portrait photographer or you're a product photographer, or landscape photographer, obviously, you have the ability to continue to go and not have to worry about running out of space. But we do have, I wouldn't be a marketer if I didn't tell you, but obviously we do have a standard account and we have an unlimited account, and our unlimited account is is mind blowing. The fact that it's so cheap. Other companies can range from anywhere from, I think, $38 a month to $60+ a month for an unlimited account.
Wow.
So that's it. So your store is already set up for you. All your products and everything are already loaded and ready to go. The only thing that you would have to set up if you're starting to sell products is the pricing. We set a set standard pricing in there, but obviously you're going to want to cover costs. You're going to want to upsell it. Most of us do that already in the industry, but you're going to want to go in there and actually be able to take a look at your cost of everything. So just to upload a gallery, I'll just make this super simple. I'm just going to title it wedding because we're kind of crunching on time here. This is not a wedding, but you guys could bear with me.
We'll imagine that it's a wedding.
Yeah, we'll imagination. Can you tell I have a daughter? She's I shouldn't be doing kid songs anymore, I suppose, but whatever.
So, by the way, for those of you that are listening in currently, Heather is jumping to a JPEG image that she can pull to use as a cover photo for the gallery. Assuming that you have easy access to something, this would have, it'd been a split-second move, right? You just click on it.
Yeah. And I'm just pulling over. So you guys aren't able to see this other end that I'm working on at the moment. But I'm pulling it right now. We're just going to get this quick.
Perfect. So, and again, I'll just kind of narrate a little bit for those listening in. Heather was commenting a little bit about the ability to be able to go in and customize your prices. But once you've created that account, which took all of, maybe 15 seconds, and it brings you into your account, there's a little button at the top left-hand, almost top left-hand corner that just says Create Gallery. She clicks on that, puts a name in. There is an event date. And then she chooses the upload cover button, and she picks that JPEG image, and it's uploading currently. Looks like it's about to maybe finish here. And what's cool about the interface is it not only demos what the cover looks like on a desktop or laptop interface, but it also shows what that's going to look like on a mobile interface.
Right, and we have a new feature here. It's called a focal point. So if you're used to Old Pass, it would just basically kind of shift it a little bit. So you wouldn't be able to see you wouldn't be able to pick your focal point. So this actually gives you the ability to go in here and say, okay, this is where I want my focal point, and I can actually apply it. And then you can see it in both your monitor and then what your mobile is going to look like. We also have different types of covers that you can select too. There's multiples in here. This is kind of like my go-to that I go to use every single time.
Yeah. And just to give context too, for those listening in, when you're talking about the focal point, you're talking about the focal point of the image as the cover photo. So you can adjust what portion of the image is actually being viewed.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I was talking about, we create collections with Pass. So some people, there's two different ways of doing this. Like when you're for a wedding photographer, you may do, your receptions, your Mr. and Mrs. details. All of those are going to be your different types of collections that you use. If you are a family photographer and maybe they actually come to you multiple times throughout the year, you can break that off to collection types too. Any way that you really want to do it, it's up to you, and you have the ability to customize that. So we don't lock you into anything. We now actually
have, and I love the similarity too of the use of the word collection for those of you who use Lightroom for the management of your images, potentially your own editing, if you dare do your own editing and not send it to Photographers Edit. But Lightroom uses virtual collections and enables you to be able to categorize images in collections. So I like the similarity between that user experience and then the one that we're seeing here.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly grab another screen so that you guys can see the whole situation happening. So we have the ability now to do a drag and drop situation. So let me get out of here really quick and actually show you that you can load now multiple. So I was talking about different collections that you have. You can actually load your collections based off of what folders you've put them in. So for a wedding photographer, you might put in details, Mr. and Mrs. reception, and those are each foldered already in your computer. So you can actually drag all of those folders over and It will populate the collections on its own.
That's a awesome. Huge time saver. Yeah.
Honestly.
Heather just did the exploding head
Yes.
motion there for those of you listening in.
Justified.
When they told us this was coming, I was like, really? When are we getting that? Like, I want to see that not now, right now situation. So let me,
I'm trying not to judge you for being a Nikon shooter, but hey, you know what? Everybody can't be perfect. I'm just
whatever.
Rich is seeing the file format there on the desktop. And that's
yeah.
So I can just highlight the two that I want, the two folders that I want. And it'll start pulling in the collection. So that's what it's doing here. So do you see one folder was titled Details, one folder was titled Mr. and Mrs. So it's already done that for me. I don't have to go back in. I mean, obviously you can go back in here and call it whatever you want if, oh, maybe that's not what I really wanted to call it. So it's literally loading for me. Up here, you can see that it's, I've already got 39% of the gallery uploaded. From there, you can actually go in. Remember the text I was telling you about?
Yeah.
So we can add any sort of text that we want. I'll just add this as a test just for, time's sake wise. And then I'm going to show you. So what it does is the first initial upload that you see is actually going to be the thumbnails. And then the second upload that's right here, and I'm going to scroll over it so you guys can see it. So the gallery is actually technically ready. I could send this to a client and they would see that the gallery is ready. The high res backups aren't ready yet. That's what takes a little bit more time, which is going to be typical because they're high res images. But what we do is we actually give you the ability to allow your clients to download web ready and high resolution. So you no longer have to actually do that in Lightroom or Photoshop, however you're saving them. Before in other programs, you would have to do a low resolution and a high resolution upload. So you just have to do a high resolution upload for us, and we already can help you convert it to a low res so it's ready to go.
That's really great. But I have to highlight here, again, the simplicity of the setup process. So if we were to take off any of the commentary, which is our effort at kind of walking everybody through this process, if we remove the commentary, the actual process of creating an account and beginning an upload would have taken maybe altogether 3 or 4 minutes, literally 3 or 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
Which is, I think, just absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys are setting a standard for a simple, user-friendly experience, which all other companies could stand to emulate, and probably won't, frankly. But I'm so impressed by that. And a lot of the apprehension. In fact, I even mentioned this before we started the broadcast to you, Heather. But a lot of the apprehension that photographers have, maybe they're already using an online gallery system, but they're not 100% sold on it. But the apprehension with the idea of moving to a different platform is understandable, right? You're used to using a particular platform. The idea of having to move to a different system, learn a different workflow, maybe download different software, that can be prohibitive in some cases, at least mentally or internally.
Absolutely.
But this very demo demonstrates, or this very demo shows rather, that getting started literally takes 2 or 3, maybe 4 minutes. And I think that's brilliant. And more people should be aware of this. It's a brilliant user experience. For the sake of time, I appreciate you demoing this getting started process for us, but you've mentioned a couple of times now the sales process utilizing Pass. And I think this is very interesting, and I want to transition to that because we've all heard of IPS, in-person sales, and the significant sales that we can drive and revenue that we can drive for our business if we're willing to take the time for that. Not everyone is sold on that idea, either because of their business model or because they're apprehensive, just actually even being a salesperson. But I'd love for you to give context here in just a second to what it means to use Pass as a platform for sales, what that could look like, and maybe some of the results that some photographers have had. But Rich and Heather, Haley, do you have any comments, questions regarding the actual setup process or experience that we just saw?
No. No, I wanted to, hopefully I want to see what it actually looked like. She said actually put text on the detailed part. This is a test. want to kind of see what that looks like on the gallery, what the client will actually see.
Let me pull it up. I just killed our share screen really quick, just right. So what happens is when your client actually gets their gallery, we do a walkthrough for them, which again saves time for the photographer. They're not having to do an absolute walkthrough of how to use a gallery, right? And let's face it, not all of our clients are tech savvy, and this is really tech friendly. So most of our replies back from clients and photographers is, Pass is easy to use. My client absolutely understands how to use it. There's no questions asked. I don't get 1,000 text messages in the middle of the night, like, how do I download? How do I, order a print? Because we literally do a walkthrough for them. So it will walk you through how to do everything, where to see.
That's awesome.
Like how to share your gallery, how to do orders, where your settings are. Yeah. It tells them, where their display is. Literally, we walk them through everything on how to do it. And I'm going to go through, just for the sake of time, this talks about their favorites. I know we chatted about that and their shopping cart. But this is here. So see how that says this is the test?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, don't write that. Write something beautiful.
No, I think that's perfect.
I was moved to tears. It's beautiful.
Heather, will you make that full screen so we can see it maybe a little bit better?
Does that help?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Yeah, just for the sake of.
I'm on a widescreen, so I apologize. So I know it kind of messes up sometimes when I'm in Zoom. People are like, I can't see your stuff.
That's great. But for those of you listening in, first of all, when Heather was talking about how the system literally walks the client through the experience of using Pass, it's doing just that. Little pop-up windows, which, by the way, pop-ups, when I hear the word pop-up, that just sounds like something annoying. It's not the kind of pop-up that you're used to seeing when you go to a website and an ad pops up. These are beautifully designed in and of themselves, actually. Just little boxes with some text that explains how to use that particular feature of the site. And the animation actually going from one element of that page to the next is even beautifully done. And then the quote that Rich wanted to see, very simply, underneath the heading for that particular collection of the gallery, there's very, very simple text. Whatever that quote or piece of text that is that you decide to put there is right underneath the heading for that.
You can do those quotes on every collection that you have. Now, I didn't do it here under the Mrs., but you can literally do that on any collection that you have. And then you're able to, and your client is able to switch back and forth between the different collections. So again, I always go back to a wedding photographer. So I try to remember that there are more than just wedding photographers, but for those that are a wedding photographer and you have multiple collections like this, being able to switch back and forth for a couple is amazing for them. Like, I've literally watched them in this experience that, a bride sits and goes, I just want to see photos of myself. Like, where are those at? And she can literally go straight to that. Or maybe you've got a mom and a dad, or, the grandmas that just want to see the family photos. They can literally click on that collection and go straight to that section. And it's very quick, and they're not sitting there scrolling through everything.
Now, I have a quick question, Heather. So I see that the web address, it says Heather Keys at passcodegallery.com. Is it possible to customize it to any particular website you want?
Yep, you can customize it.
Okay.
Again, if you want to fully brand out, and that's included, it's not an upcharge or anything of that nature. So you can go in the back end and create a custom domain for yourself.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And you said you could upload your logo. Where would
right here is where your logo. I just haven't done that because this is a demo account. And then at the very top in here, your logo would also be present there. And we have different types of front screens that you'd have. Your cover here can look different. You can make your logo bigger or smaller.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. There's a wonderful balance of the ability to customize while also maintaining a really simple, extremely clean user interface, which, again, major props to you guys. There's so many companies out there, again, despite the wonderful examples that we've seen from select websites that are still extremely cluttered, whether it's photographers' websites or just other vendors that we might go to. And you guys have done a beautiful job. So major props to the designers and developers for that.
That was really our goal when developing Pass. So it was called Pass Plus. I know that there was a little bit of confusion. We are rebranding. So there's Pass Classic, which is what original Pass was. We have now branded it to Pass Classic. This was called Pass Plus, and we've now branded it to just call it Pass, trying to simplify a little bit more as we continue to go along. But that was really our goal when designing Pass, is to give a user face, an interface that can be seamless. easy to use for both the photographer and the client, and being able to give photographers the tools that they need to be able to sell their products further. So take it past, doing a shoot and past just, giving digitals out to them.
100%, which is really a great segue to the conversation about sales. So walk us through this process. We've got about 20 minutes. Walk us through the process of actually using this platform then for the purpose of sales, if you will.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back in. You guys can still see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to go back into where our gallery is. Again, I was just doing our preview gallery, so you can actually see what your clients are seeing, which is a great feature to have. You don't have to go anywhere else. I just literally click that and it pops up a new screen for you. But what we're going to do is actually, I'm just going to do a bit of a test in here so that I have somewhere to send it to. This is your invite. All of this can be customized too. We have an ability that you can go in and actually make templates. If you're like me and most of us, we just want to be able to get you your gallery. Like we have a beautiful gallery, we want to get it to the client as quick as we possibly can, and we want it to look nice and we want it to be branded. So we now have the ability on the back end to actually create templates. So as a photographer, you can go in and create templates. So every time you send a gallery out, it can say something specific. And you can always go in there after the fact and actually just type in anything else that you want to do as well. And it's all going to pop up right here. So when your client gets
very, very simple interface, very beautifully designed. And like you said, Heather, you really could just send it as is. I don't see any real need for customization even. And you could get this to the email, the invite to the gallery to the client right away.
Super quick. Yeah. So what we would have is multiple defaults here. You actually create different. So if you're a photographer who has multiple aspects that you do, you're a wedding photographer, maybe you're a newborn and a family, maybe you do all of that. You can actually create different template segments that will be geared towards those types of clients, which is awesome. And again, another time saver. So this would send straight off to your client. It lets you know on the back end, the photographer is going to get a BCC email that's going to tell them this was sent on what day. And that's really important for photographers. And it's something that we really listen to the community when we create new features. That was something that they wanted to see. They wanted to say, hey, I need an email that says that client got it for multiple reasons. 1, accountability. 2, transparency, right? If anything was to happen and a client says, I didn't get that gallery, you don't have an email that shows that you actually sent it. What are you doing? So we've now give you a BCC that you can see exactly what was sent to your client.
Nice.
From here, we have a dashboard where you can have your clients select their favorites. So if you're building an album for them, having them select their favorites ahead of time makes it super simple and quick when you're going to go to design an album.
Nice.
Or if you're sharing social media posts that we talked about, like on the mobile end or even on here, you can send an email off that asks them to select their favorites.
And so if they select those favorites or they add images to that album collection, are you then able to very easily download that selection of images to your desktop to use?
Yep. It's all packaged. It'll download to a zip file for you, and then it's done. You're ready. You do whatever you want with it. The cool thing is we now have an built-in automated album designer, which
you have my ears. Yes. Okay.
We're listening.
We're listening.
Here is a feature that, again, when I was, we sit around the round table, if you will, and my brain gets picked a lot too as a photographer. But it's really, this saved literally 4 hours of album designing per client for me. So it's an automated album designer that will go in and we call him Pierre. So giving it a name, Pierre will go in and fully create an album for your client. Now you can either send that album to your client, or your client can actually go in on their end and create an album, and it'll say, do you want to use the album we've created for you, or do you want to customize and create one on your own? So for both types of photographers. Now there's the photographers that want to offer albums but don't even want to deal with it on their end. They're like, just let them have it, and they can create it and design it themselves. Because it's so easy to use, your client can go in there on the back end and actually design an album. Now for me, I'm kind of particular about what albums look like. I have a story that I tell when I shoot weddings. I want them, just like most photographers, want to be able to show them what that story looks like. So you have the ability to use the album that Pierre made, or actually go in and customize an album for your client. So we have this feature down here, and hopefully you guys can see the bottom of my screen, because again, I'm using a widescreen, so I apologize. But down here we have a send a coupon feature or a send a product feature. Now, both of these are part of our photographer's online sales system. It's a 14-step system that we teach photographers how to go from the beginning, from the moment your client reaches out to you, the first time you get an inquiry, all the way down to getting testimonials. So every single step in between, delivering how to shoot for products, which is something that we're, again, teaching photographers to actually shoot for product sales. If you're creating an album and you know you're going to create an album for a client, getting landscape photos and getting portrait photos, you're going to need both to create a cohesive album. Also talking to your clients ahead of time before you actually photograph them to see what kind of products they'd be interested in. That's a way for you to say, okay, I can shoot. I know that they're going to want a huge family canvas. Obviously, I'm going to need to get a family shot, right? And it's going to have to be beautiful, and it's going to have to look perfect for a canvas. So teaching photographers how to bring that sale from start to finish, that's our highlight of the photographer's online sales system.
So in that process, then, you talked about 14 steps. Is this a whole different section of the site that they can access these 14 steps and what that looks like, or how do you communicate that?
I just ran a trial on it. So this is something that, I sat down and literally went through every step of how it's done. How do we do it? From the moment you get an inquiry to the very end, what's the steps look like? So we ran through last month. I was going into the shoot and share community as well as the Pass community. We dive a little bit deeper in the Pass community, obviously, and we show them really how to utilize Pass in it. But I didn't want to leave out the photographers that aren't using Pass yet. Though I wanted to show them how they could use it in Pass, I wanted to let people also know that some of these steps didn't matter what program you were using. You can still sell online. It may just take you a few more steps that you're going to have to, figure out and create on your own, but it's certainly doable. And when I hear that in-person sales is like the only way to generate revenue, I sit back and think to myself, well, there's a lot of photographers that can't do that. There's photographers that don't have studios. There's photographers that maybe they're a destination location.
Right.
Here in Temecula, California, I'm in a destination location. I've got wineries coming out the wazoozies and everyone's flying in here and they leave. So being able to do an in-person sales with a client, it's a little bit harder. I'm going to have to go on Zoom just like we're doing here. And I show their galleries to them that way. And I like the experience of actually being able to watch a client look through their gallery.
Sure,
so I use Vivi because I use our video program. But I show them, what their photos look like. And I kind of go through the sales process with them. But again, certainly being able to teach photographers how they can do it and not have to do in-person sales was our goal. But so I'm going into the community. I was going in every Tuesdays and Thursdays. These videos are still up in the community, so they're able to watch them still. We're going to do another go at it. So as we continue to progress, obviously this course is going to continue to grow. And as we continue to get feedback from photographers that are putting it and implementing it into their business already, we've already started to add a few more things. So when we do the next run of it, we'll have a few more things to be able to add into it.
Okay, cool. So I'm looking at the interface that we're looking at right now. It almost is like the control panel, if you will, for sales associated with Pass. Is there? I'm seeing that you mentioned the send coupons option earlier, a send a product, and a couple of other. What I'm seeing looks like black boxes. But what are the significance of those elements of the page?
So these are the stores. So I just haven't set up. I'm wondering if I should even just log out of this account and get into my account so you guys can just see how this is completely.
That'd be awesome, if you don't mind. Yeah.
That might be a little bit easier. Just because there are things that are definitely things that you're going to need to customize once you're in here. You definitely need to go in and look at your pricing and everything and get all of that set up. So I don't want people to think that it's 100%. I mean, it's ready to go. Obviously, we created an album and whatnot, but I do want to point out that, yes, you will have to add your information in.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Well, I think many photographers would be happy to just get going at all and get their galleries uploaded to begin with. And then they have the opportunity to come back in and do some of these other things that we're talking about. I love that they can get started so quickly.
Absolutely.
I'd love to also give maybe just a little bit more. We've got about 10 minutes right now. We'll just give a little bit more of a concrete idea for those watching and listening and what that sales process can look like. And maybe actually seeing your screen here will help them understand that. In the meantime, though, Kristen was saying, if we have stock photos in landscape photography, can we use Pass to sell photos to people visiting my website? What's your thought on that, Heather?
Yeah, I think I saw that. Run that by me one more time. I'm sorry. Being able to sell landscape photography?
Stock photos and landscape photography. Yeah, can we use Pass to sell photos to people visiting my website?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%, because you can actually go in and create your own domain and set that up. You can seamlessly add that to your website. There's a lot of photographers that use Pass as their actual gallery that they'll show clients. Yes. So there are apps, there are ways. We actually have a how-to guide for it too. So I can certainly pop that in when we're done with this. I'll pop that into the question. That way you guys can see how it's done. But yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. And thanks for the question, Kristen. And again, for those of you watching, we have about 10 minutes left here. Don't hesitate to ask questions or make comments. Would love to get your thoughts. And I appreciate all the engagement so far. But take it away, Heather.
Yeah, so right now, just in a gallery, I'm going to do send a product because I am absolutely obsessed with our album designer because it's easy. So on the client, or I'm sorry, on the photographer side, I just went in there and hit send a product. Click on albums, and I'll try to do a walkthrough too because I know the podcast it's I'm doing everything on a screen, but thanks for narrating as you go. Yeah. So you can either view the album that Pierre created for you, or you can start fresh. Okay. I'll just hit view album because it's already ready and a time constraint here. You can see what the cost is going to be already. It's on the right-hand side. Picking the different sizes that you want. We've got an 8x8, a 10x10, or a 12x12, clicking a linen or a leather. Just as a bit of a I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. We have a new album company that we will be introducing to. So right now, all of our fulfillment is with Kiss. Kiss albums, which are beautiful. In fact, Nathan, you had Kiss on. We just did a couple, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. 2 weeks ago, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, amazing albums. Love their quality. So it's built in. If you prefer another company, you can always do self-fulfillment too and still use this product, which is awesome. So you can still, do all your layout and everything and just bring it into whatever company that you're using. Got it. That's great. That you want to use. So for time's sake, I'm literally just going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. These are the spreads. So can you guys see these okay? If not, I can just click on this and make them a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's great. Up here at the top is going to give you the different layouts. So if you're used to building albums, this is sometimes a painstaking process. And when I first started building albums, I wanted to pull my hair out. I was using a third-party program and I was having to download everything and upload everything and then do all the spreads. And my brain didn't work like that. I was like, it's just half of my time was wasted for it. So this is literally an album that's already ready to go. It's already designed. It's as easy as if I don't want a photo in here, I literally can just click anything else and drag it in there and it will look to it. And this, what we're seeing here, I mean, is this what the system started with? It just pulled images and put this album together and then you're able to customize it? Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And it's chronological order. For me, as a wedding photographer, it's typically how I build my albums anyways, is a chronological order. But again, if you're a portrait photographer and you say, oh, I want this in the front, or I want all the family photos in the front of an album, or maybe you want to, intertwine them. All you're literally doing is dragging and dropping and you're going. You can zoom them in, hit OK, it's done. If I don't like this layout, I just click another layout. It will sort the photos. You may have to come in here and just do a little bit of changing, moving your images around to make it fit into that new layout. But that's it. Like I'm literally just clicking to a new layout and it's changing things around for me. Wow. And I have to add too, that I'm noticing,
photographers, if they're shooting a wedding, for example, or working with hundreds and hundreds of images, it very simply categorizes all the images. So you can click on the appropriate collection that you want to pull images from.
Yeah. So anything that if you've created a collection for your gallery, you just click through at the bottom, and I actually number mine so you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be whatever you want it to say down here. So whatever you've titled your collections is what you're going to see down here.
Right.
But yeah, if I say, okay, I need some more reception shots, or I need family photos in here, I just go to that section and I start scrolling through at the bottom, and there's your family photos. As it jumps to a new collection, you'll see that this is going to change too. Like you can literally pop it back over.
Yeah, that's really, really great. Rich and Heather, I know that you were commenting on the significance of this album design feature even existing in here. Do you have any specific questions for Heather as we're starting to finish up here?
No. Do you?
I do. So when I saw you push the send a product button, when you send that, is it if they paid for the album prior, like when they booked you, can you make it to where they just say okay and they don't have to pay?
Yeah, you can create a coupon for that. So I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say that you sold the album for maybe it's $500 or whatever the case may be, or maybe it's built in. You don't want to tell them how much it costs. You can always create a coupon that will zero this out for them.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what if what they bought was like a 15 spread album, and but they've selected so many images that they have like basically upsell to 20 spreads or whatever? Is that how does Pass handle that?
So same thing. You're going to create how much you're charging.
Okay, so you give basically you kind of create a coupon for $500, and that would cover a 15 spread album, and if they go over, then they have to pay the difference. Is that basically how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Exactly.
I love the simplicity of that. It's straightforward enough. So that's really, really great.
So let's say you run out of time and you haven't sent it yet, or you still want to do some more designing, you can always save it for later, or you can send it to your client or even add it to the cart. So here's one thing for photographers. If you are wanting to create maybe multiple albums for them, maybe they're doing a parent album and their album, you can always add it to the cart too. And you can also purchase it on your end if you want to save a little bit of hassle here. And I like to receive them so that I can see them. I can take photos of them. I'm that kind of person. I also want to include like a little special gift for them. So I want to package everything up nicely to my brand. I will actually add this to my cart, check out myself under the my photographer's account. And then any extra special billings, I'll bill them for that too. I use a billing program, so I can literally just bill them for the additional cost. You can also still send it to them. Like if, they have to approve it. So obviously send it to them, just don't include a cost for it.
And I hate to rush here at the end, Heather, we've got 3 minutes. I know Rich has to go to a shoot, and I want to respect your time too. Just one last question with regards to sending an album to a client, or a design more specifically to a client. Is there a pretty easy interface for interacting with the client, getting feedback on the design, the individual pages?
Yeah, so we have, you can proof. So proofing is actually built right into it. They'll be able to go in and actually make comments throughout the album, maybe change this photo out to this photo, or I have them type the word okay next to every spread.
Nice. That's smart.
Spread. And again, protecting, got to protect yourself in business. But yeah, they can go through and make any kind of adjustments, and let you know that anything needs to be changed. So we have that too. And I can certainly leave links to, again, we've created how-to guides for absolutely everything on the back end. So I never want anyone to feel like it's overwhelming, because I know it's something that I use all of the time. But to be transparent, I didn't always use Pass. I used another program prior to. And so I know what it feels like to switch to a new program. And you're like, oh, I have to learn all of this new stuff. So here at Pass, we really want you to know that we're here for you. If you have questions, you can reach out. We have the Pass community that we've just stood up again. And it's been amazing. Photographers are able to come in, they chat with each other. We're all a part of the community too. I'm in there every single solitary day. And so is our customer service team. So if there's ever any questions that people have, we're here to help you. And we also have live chat too. So you can also go onto our website and actually be able to ask any questions that you want to.
Perfect. Well, I know again that this is all kind of, we're rushing here at the end, and I hate to rush, but
I know.
I think we've got a really great idea, though, of how, first of all, how easy it is to use Pass, and then some of the powerful features built in. Everybody make sure that you go check out pass.us. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Are you talking about our website?
For the website?
No, it's passgallery.com.
Okay, passgallery.com then. And of course, we'll make sure to link to that in the show notes. Go to podcast.com to check out any resources associated with the show, Workflow Wednesday episodes, the podcast episodes. Haley has put a wealth of information there. And so make sure you go to bokehpodcast.com. We'll link to Pass there in the show notes. Heather, thank you so much for making time to share with the Bokeh community today and everybody else watching online. And for those of you listening in on the audio version, make sure you go to facebook.com/PhotogsEdit, the Photographers Edit Facebook page. You can see the replay and actually see the demo. It's pretty compelling. You're going to want to check it out. Thank you so much, though, Heather, for making time for us today.
Thanks for the demo, Heather.
Thank you so much, Heather. It was so nice meeting you all.
Thank you, Nathan, for having me on. Thank you guys for taking the time. And if there's questions that people want to post below, I'll come back in and answer any questions too.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Have a good weekend.
See you guys.
You too. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bokeh Podcast. Will you let us know what you thought by leaving a review of the podcast in iTunes or the Apple Podcast app? And I'd love to hear from you personally with your thoughts about the podcast and maybe suggestions about future topics and guests for the show. My email is nathan@photographersedit.com. The Bokeh Podcast is brought to you by Photographers Edit, custom image editing for the wedding and portrait photographer. Visit photographersedit.com.